What's up, world? What's up, Facebook Live? Happy Friday. You guys made it. Just wanted to jump on today and talk about being your best self and connecting to yourself within so you can flow and consciously connect within your relationships and with others. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Just gonna wait till a couple of people get on, and then I'm gonna start rambling my little truths that I came up with last night that have kind of been TikToking around in my head this week that I feel like are just really important and powerful, and I hope that they inspire you to find your own truths and to speak your truths, embody them, and to bring them into your relationship so you can consciously connect within. How's the weather, Kelly? That's such a random question, right? Let me know how you're doing in the comments while we wait for a couple people to get on. I know that Fridays are like honestly the worst because people are sort of already out and about and it's the weekend. I probably should have done it yesterday, but yesterday was just so crazy busy that I didn't get a chance. So I'm doing it today. Hopefully most people will take a look at it after the Facebook Live, but I feel like I should get music. Should I put music on? I just had Nine Inch Nails playing really loud and I was dancing around all crazy and I was loving it, but I don't think my neighbor was really liking it, but that's okay, right? All right, well, I'm gonna start because like I said, it's Friday and everybody's probably already like, oh, it's the weekend and they're checked out. Hey, Tiff. Yes, my East Coast loves. So I was just saying that I'm gonna get started. I wanted to make this video today about consciously connecting to yourself and that way being able to consciously connect in your relationships. So I guess, unless you're going to move to the woods and live alone, every day we're gonna have interactions where we're going to connect with other people out in the world, we're gonna be dating, or we're in a long-term relationship, and obviously we're in a long-term relationship with ourselves and our self-love. So I wanted to talk about being your best self in a relationship, consciously connecting, and I wanted to share some things that I've learned on my journey. I have had a range of relationships, like I'm sure all of you have. I've been in a relationship with a narcissist. Hey Michelle, I got Arizona on now. I've been in a relationship where, there was so much love and so much peace and healing, and some of the bad relationships that I've been in have been, had amazing moments, but overall they were big lessons for me and they taught me a lot. There was a lot of darkness that needed to be managed and transmuted, and lessons that I learned, and I'm grateful for all of it, right? We're grateful for the things that break us and the things that build us. Hey, Nikki. And we're just talking about being your best self and flowing into conscious connections. Some of the things that I've learned over the years through good relationships, bad relationships, well, not good, bad, there really isn't such a thing, but things that make us happy, things that make us sad, things that break us, things that rebuild us. So, my friend Nina Christine always says, every time something's happening, hey Brian, every time something's happening, it's like, yeah, it's warrior training. We start getting all pumped up. It's like, yeah, it's warrior training for the next level, because we're always sort of, training ourselves to break what we thought was and build something new within our experience and being more open and flowing into that. So, there are a couple things that hey Elaine, I have learned on my journey, and I really wanted to share them with you in hopes to inspire you to find your own truths and to live them. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was validation. Obviously, we live in a culture where we are told to seek external validation. So, you'll see something online where maybe someone's dating and they'll say, oh my God, this guy likes me and I'm so excited. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, that's really dangerous, because when we give external validation power over us, we're giving people power over us, which is a scary place to be. Our power should start within in the morning. So I like to go to my mirror and spend 30 seconds and look into my eyes and just look at how beautiful I am. And you should do the same thing. Really look at how beautiful you are. And it feels really weird because we're used to giving that love to other people, but just go in the mirror, and everyone has time for 30 seconds, and look into your eyes, really look and see how beautiful they are, and think about, how big your heart is and how much you do and care for other people. And tell yourself that you love yourself and that you're beautiful just as you are, because that power starts within, and we really shouldn't give it externally to other people. And we can talk about this all day, but we really do rely on external validation. I mean, even, me, I still struggle with, oh my God, are people gonna watch my video? Are people gonna like my video? And I really try to be aware of that and let it go and know that I'm living my life, and it doesn't really matter if what I say resonates, because I know that there are people that my messages do resonate with. And I've gotten into the habit where I'm really open with, validation now. And I think in order to be peaceful and to be present, we have to say, okay, so I met someone and I really like them, and maybe they like me, and we're doing this thing, yay. And then I also like to go on the other side and say, okay, met someone, I really like them, yay. And yeah, they don't like me, they're not talking to me, they're not paying attention to me. And all of a sudden, it's like, yay, because that's good too, right? So if we meet somebody, and we don't need to be externally validated, and they like us, great. We're about to have an experience that is going to be beautiful, or we're going to learn something, or whatever it's going to be. It's going to be magical in its own right? And if it doesn't work out and it was a moment in time and that's it, then we hold the space open for other people to fill that space, the right people to fill that space, or to have more time to do what we're doing and just live our life. So either way, it's like not being attached, but being more detached, and just being really open to trusting what spirit, I know Jay, you know all this stuff, what spirit is showing us and what we are about to experience, and just be excited for the experience, whether, it happens with that person or it doesn't happen with that person. I see so many people that are so broken by what's happening with other people, and that's giving way too much power away. I mean, obviously in a relationship, yeah, you might feel sad or something might not be going your way, but to let someone have so much power over you and to show you who you are, so often people, and we all do this, we project, right? People see us as objects, and people want what they want from us, and they want to feel good, and they want to take that in this interaction that we're having with them. And I don't want anyone to tell me who I am through external validation. I know who I am now. I've spent many years being broken and suicidal and waiting for someone to see me, but anything that we want to feel inside and we think we're going to get externally has to be felt within alone. It has to be in the silence of our soul, right? So we have to see ourselves for other people to see us. We have to love ourselves for people to respect us and love us. Exactly, detached magical moments, Tiff. So I would totally call it that. So hey, Kevin. So definitely, think about external validation, and, it's something that we're raised to want, and it's something that makes us feel good, but we really need to go in the mirror every morning and make ourselves feel good so that we do not need that external validation, because when we give people power over us, that's going to break us, and that's not a good place to be. We need to stay balanced and peaceful and in power as much as we can. So at least have the awareness to know that, okay, I'm kind of like wanting to feel validated by this person. What can I do to validate myself so that I don't need to rely on this person validating me? Because that is power. And even though we can't always shift stuff immediately, we can at least be aware, and that's how the process begins, when we can shift something. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was resonance. So when we, find that something resonates, or we're drawn to someone, or, our soul is catching fire because we're doing eye contact and we feel like we want to look away, we don't want to look away, and, there's something happening, something magical. Maybe they're your soul family and you feel like instant best friends, or maybe, you feel like you're going to fall for this person. We tend to let our minds kick off, right? It's like, oh my God, well, I'm a lot older than this person, or they're a lot younger than me, or I don't think I'm pretty enough, or I don't think I'm good enough, or if we could just be with that and again be aware that something is resonating. So when something resonates or something feels like it's in alignment with us, we know that, well, at least I know, and I'm sharing this with you guys, you might agree with me, that something's going to happen. We're going to learn a lesson here. We're going to have an amazing, thanks Alistair, we're going to have an amazing experience. Something is going to come that we need in this interaction. So resonance is resonance. And we get something from every interaction, whether it's a moment in time we share with someone, or maybe it's long term, or whatever it may be, a friendship, or maybe what I tend to find is there's a lot of synchronicities in my soul family. I may need something or want to have an answer, and I'll meet somebody, and then I feel like I've gotten activated. A piece of what I was searching for, I didn't quite have, and now I have that, and now I'm able to put the puzzle, better together. So be open when something resonates. Try not to judge the interactions that you're having, but more so witness and say, oh, this is exciting. Like, what am I going to learn from this? What's going to happen? What am I going to learn about myself, right? Because we learn a lot through our interactions, and I think it's really important to be open when we do feel resonance or when something is aligned with us. So the third thing I want to talk about was seeing the reflection of you. And this is something that I really did not realize, I appreciate that, Jay, at all until recently. When we have interactions with people, we get caught up and it's magical and all of the serotonin and dopamine, and we're like, oh my God, this person's amazing and what we had was amazing. And, we sort of like attach to it and be like, oh my God, I want more, like this drug, because, love is a drug and we're biologically wired to want more and to make families. And, I think in modern times, there's not a lot of longevity depending on what you're doing or what you're seeking. You may find that, or it may not be time. You may just be going to have a bunch of, experiences that are moments in time or, a couple of months, and we have to be open to what we're being shown, through our experience. And one of the things that I really thought was powerful is, one of my friends, Rachel Kaddish, who lives here in LA, who's an amazing holistic healer, said to me that, when you have that interaction with someone, that's both of you, it's your energies merging, and what you feel is what someone's reflecting to you. So if you think about that, it's you. You're seeing you reflected in this person. When someone is in love with you or interested in you, or whatever magical madness takes place between you, even if it's a moment in time, that's you. That's what you are. And you don't need to have a person to see that you are this magic in movement, right? And this madness. And it's you. It's just being reflected. So, when we love ourselves, we love everyone that we come in contact with. When we hate ourselves, we hate everyone that we come in contact with. Everyone is a mirror for us. So, now when we have interactions, it's like, look at that person and realize that you are still that person. You're still beautiful and you are still full of love and light. And you don't need another person to reflect that back to you when you start to really seek within the silence of your soul. And when you start to get quiet, you can feel that love. It's kind of like the mirror exercise. When you go to the mirror, it feels really awkward and weird because you feel vulnerable and exposed. It's almost how you feel in the float tank. The first time I went in the float tank, it was like no distractions of being able to see. I couldn't see, it's dark. You can't hear, so no sound. So all of the 3D distractions that we experience in this world and around us, when we zone in with eye contact, even our own, we get mesmerized because we are beautiful and we are loved. So we really have to remember that and carry that out into the world. We don't need a partner to reflect that to us. We don't need anything. We may want that, but we should get to a point where we are in our power and we are peaceful and we're in love with ourselves. I mean, have you looked at yourself? Like, you're gorgeous. And so go after this, and every morning for at least, even if you can't bear 30, 45 seconds, do like 10 seconds and just look into your eyes and say, I love myself, and say all the reasons why you love yourself. And something will transform and shift because it's really magical. I know we have moments of really low self-esteem where we're like, oh shit, like, I don't think I look good enough or I'm not good enough. And that's such bullshit. It's not even true. I mean, if you're saying things in your head and you're feeling bad about it, there's a disconnect. And so go get yourself pumped up and validate yourself. Dance in the mirror and be like, I'm validating myself before I go out in the world, and do what you need to do. Like, get strong and get that love inside of you. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about that this was like another thing that totally blew my mind was shadows. So a lot of times I'll think, oh man, I've done like a lot of self-work and I love myself and I think I got this. Like, I kind of looked at my beliefs and I shifted them and I understand, when this happened or what was going on. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I didn't do anything. I'm not all the way there. And you know why? The reason that you're not all the way there is because the shadow is still there. You get triggered. And one of the even more powerful things about that is our inner world reflects on the outside. So everything that's going on in your world on the outside is what's happening inside. Okay, so look at your world. If you think that you've shifted the type of relationships that you call into your life, or you think that you've shifted something, and you look at your life and you go, oh no, I'm still calling the same type of relationships in, I'm still seeing the same patterns, I'm still doing the same things. Your outer world will tell you everything that you need to know about your inner world. Even if you think that you have perhaps shifted it, you might not have done the whole shift. And that blew my mind because, for someone that spent a lot of time in silence, a lot of time being broken, being suicidal, being like, okay, I'm going to face this because I'm really not scared of much anymore. And to see that my outer world was still reflecting back to me some things inside that I needed to work on, I was like, oh shit, man, I still have more work to do. I mean, that blew my mind. That is these, I know, Jay, right? It blew my mind. I was like, I think I was walking my dog and I was like, oh man, I thought I did like all the work already. What the hell? And obviously, like, there's always going to be work. We're always going to be growing and, you know, expanding. But really look at your life and be honest about what it's showing you. Like, are you calling the same type of people in? Are you having the same type of relationships? Do you feel the same? Are you, you know, what's happening in your world? Are you still, you know, witnessing a lack of abundance, or has that shifted? You know, what's happening? And that's a big indicator, you know, because universal law, the outer world doesn't lie about what's going on the inside. So take that and think about that. That's a really powerful one. And I wanted to talk about conditional love versus unconditional love. So a lot of times when we're in surface relationships, like, oh, I like you, you live close to me, we like the same things, blah, 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 blah. It tends to be conditional love, right? So you always have to be your best. You don't feel like you can, you know, let your guard down or be vulnerable. And conditional love sucks, right? Because you always feel like you're always trying to win something. And in a lot of surface relationships, that's kind of how it goes. When something shifts, it's like the whole world may fall apart because it's conditional love. But when you unconditionally love yourself and realize that, you know what, I'm a little bit fucking broken and it doesn't matter because I'm still an amazing person and I'm doing amazing things, I'm here for a reason, we start to like transition that conditional love and we start to carry it within and we start to show it to other people that we meet, even strangers. You know, we have compassion for them and we're like, wow, I see myself in you. There's no separation. You know, separation is a complete illusion. We are all one. So unconditional love is more like divine love, you know, and I think that what I really learned about divine love is that when you consciously connect with someone and you're doing the work and you're speaking your truth and you're in your power and you don't need external validation and you feel powerful and you can be present, you start to realize that you have unconditional love for people because you don't need love from them, because you have that love for yourself and you can bring it out into the world. And one of the other things that I really noticed about unconditional love is that it tends to happen when you have a real connection with someone, a connection that doesn't fade over time. You know, it seems to grow when you have time apart, but really like notice in your interactions with people, when you're speaking and when you're listening, are you really connecting? Is there like a transference of energy between the two of you? Do you feel like you're being lifted and carried and protected and loved? Because that's more unconditional soul love. And that's more, you know, what I like to call the decadent dinner. You know, I feel like surface love and conditional love is like fast food. You know, it's like, oh my God, I feel really amazing. And I'm getting, you know, I'm feeling so high. And then you feel like shit after because you're like, you know what, this is fake. This is so fake. And obviously we need to experience the duality of life, which is fine, but just be conscious about the type of love you want to call into your life. You know, if you want people to listen to you or be there for you or consciously connect, do that for them and do that for yourself and start, you know, holding space for that. Stop with the surface interactions and trying to be your best so that someone will love you in this conditional, you know, fast food kind of shitty love, because it literally doesn't sit well after a while. You know, I think divine love is what we really need to be after, you know, to consciously connect and to drop in deep with people and I feel like, you know, we have a real connection, because real connections, I know, are the only thing that I know that's real in this 3D reality is love. You know, I'm not really sure about anything else, but I definitely know that love is real. So the next thing I want to talk about is energy. I want to say that, you know, understanding what your own energy feels like is really helpful for understanding the energy of other people and how that feels within the interaction. You know, lately, I've had some really strange interactions, and I won't say too much, but I think that we need to think about our social intelligence, our emotional intelligence, right? Hey, Jess in England. We need to think about our, hey, Zach, Michael. Hey, I know that we need to think about our emotional intelligence because it's important. So, you know, really thinking about how your energy feels. You know, when I wake up, I feel peaceful most days. Some days I feel, you know, kind of moody as fuck, if I'm honest. And then I sort of like recenter after that. But I'm always conscious of, at least I try to be, aware of how I feel and how I'm bringing my energy out into the world so that I can know if I'm gonna, you know, get triggered or what's gonna happen. And I think when we understand our energy and we're in balance, we can bring that into our conscious connections. But, you know, lately I've noticed that sometimes people don't pay attention, and you really need to think about, you know, if somebody wants to receive your energy. And what that means is, you know, in an interaction, does somebody want me to touch them, or does someone want me to, you know, give them a lot of eye contact? You really have to be aware of how the energy feels within yourself, within others, and how the energy is merging into one another and how it's being shared, right? Because sometimes we have interactions where, you know, people have agendas. We may have an agenda, we may not. And sometimes, people want to take from us, and sometimes an interaction doesn't feel good, and we need to be aware of that, and we need to shut that down or let people know that that's not all right. We also need to let people know when people want to touch us and we're uncomfortable. For me, physical contact has always been something that is sacred to me, and I don't share that with very many people. And you really need to think about, does this person want to be touched by me now? Does this person want me to come on to them? Like, what is the end goal here and how you're sharing your energy with someone? Is my energy coming from a place of balance, respect, and love, or am I attacking people with my energy? Are they feeling uncomfortable? And you can usually tell. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but common sense isn't that obvious. If you say something and you're way over the top and somebody backs up, then, they didn't want to receive that energy, and they may let you know and they may not let you know. But, at least in an interaction where 90% of body language is going to communicate to you what's going on with someone, we really need to be conscious of what we're doing with our energy and how we're sharing that energy with other people. And that's like one of the most important things. We can even ask people if, maybe our emotional intelligence isn't that good, or we're not that familiar with energy and how it merges. Hey, I'm really feeling like I want to kiss you, or I want to touch you, or hey, I want to be close to you. Is that okay? You don't just do it and then, have like this awkward interaction. So definitely think about energy and, how you're sharing yours and how yours feels. And the next thing that I want to talk about was triggers, right? Because triggers are awesome. We get, pissed off and people trigger us, and it kind of tells us what we need to heal and what we need to do and whether we're in balance, and we really need to look at this and think about, what we're doing. So you may have a conversation with someone and they say something to you, and then like within a second you're like, what the hell? Like, why did they say that? And you start getting like fired up. You're like, oh man, now I'm like pissed off, and you start like marching around your house and getting all crazy. And in the past, when I would get triggered, I would react. Most of us react. It's like, yeah, no, and then you just start getting like fired up, right? You start wanting to like tell people about it. This just happened and this is awful, and why would they do that? And you start going on a rant and feeding it and attaching to it and getting under the wave of confusion. And now when I get triggered, I smile because I know that I'm in control. And, sometimes people want to trigger us because they want to feed and they want to take that energy because they're not connected to their own energy. And it's powerful to watch that and laugh about it because you're in control, I'm in control. So when we're peaceful and we're in balance, it's really hard for people to, pick up our surfboard and throw us into the ocean, So I keep surfing for the most part, and I try to be with whatever I feel and consciously act or consciously not communicate depending on what someone says. Sometimes people do not speak from a place of love and respect, and for me, that's not something that I tolerate anymore. And you should really consider if you want to tolerate that, because I think that it can be very draining. I mean, obviously we live in a crazy world and there's a lot going on. We don't need people that are not going to speak with love and respect or treat us the right way. And I think once you start doing that, those people seem to move out of your life, or they can be there to trigger you and teach you what still needs to be healed and what you need to look at. And it's totally okay if you do get triggered and you're like, oh fuck, and then you get really angry and you like throw shit around your apartment, or you like, need to go work out or do whatever. That's just letting you know that something needs to be healed, and that's normal. That's nothing to get upset on top of the upset about. So if you get triggered, just smile, because you know that you're powerful and you know that you're in your power, and think about, what did this person mean? And if you don't know what they meant, ask them, hey, maybe I took this wrong. What did you mean? And if they really meant it in a way that was not respectful and loving, then perhaps you need to let them know, or perhaps you need to disconnect that communication. So that's really up to you, but that's protecting your energy, and we have to be smart about, what we're doing with our energy and our time. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was, power, and how being in our power, we are the most powerful that we can be. So, when we do get triggered, we really need to face things, and we need to have that conversation so we can continue to expand and not just ignore stuff. So, people might get mad at you and people might project things onto you, and we really have to realize that everyone is doing the best they can from their level of consciousness. We're all at different levels of consciousness. We're all at different points in the path, all over the place. So we really need to respect that and have compassion, because we've all felt hurt or angry and tried to blame things on people. But one of the most important things that I've learned is that no one is responsible for us, and no one is responsible for our feelings, and we are responsible for our happiness. So when we decide that we're going to make ourselves happy, no one else has to make us happy, and that makes us in our power. And when we decide that no one else is going to be responsible for that, that's a powerful thing. And so I really wanted to just say that, you know, being in your power and realizing that you control you and you control your feelings. Nobody makes us feel anything, you know, that's not already inside of us. So if you feel triggered or something's happening, you don't need to get, you know, crazy with them. You just need to go within and think about why you're triggered, and you need to heal that and think about that and at least be aware of it and know what's happening. You know, that's why people come to trigger us, right? So we can grow. So every time I get triggered, I'm like, oh shit, man, that really pissed me off. Like, you know, what's that about? And then I go and have a word with myself and I'm like, oh, okay, so this still needs healing because I'm feeling, you know, really hurt by that. And, you know, sometimes people put the hurt that they feel on us. And as an empath, that's really hard. But, you know, it's always good to send them love and to see ourselves in them because we've all been there, right? And so everyone's doing the best that they can. So just having compassion and letting that move through and being with it. So the last thing I wanted to say, because it's Friday and I like love that you guys are spending this time with me, and I've sort of been rambling for a while, but I wanted to say, you know, the most powerful thing that we can do is to just be with everything that we feel and to be in our power, you know, to basically be present and to be patient and to be observant and detached, you know, in love with yourself and your experience, and just be all that you can be. You know, I think that being with stuff is one of the most powerful things. Obviously, we live in a very masculine-driven world, which masculine and feminine have to both exist, you know, the duality and everything. But it's hard to be because we're always told to go do this and to do that and to this and that. And it's like we're constantly running and trying to make things happen. But sometimes when we can just be with things and we can set our intentions and we can let it flow through, we're powerful in that side of our energy as well. So be with what you feel and know that you're powerful and know that you can be peaceful. I think that, you know, peace, power, presence floated in one day for me. And I thought, wow, that's really powerful. And I've sort of been living by that ever since, you know, no matter what happens in my world, I am present as I can be. I have the awareness that I do my best. And I try to be peaceful. You know, I think about what a beautiful person I am, all the beautiful people that are in my life, everybody on this video, the world. You know, I just feel overwhelmed with gratitude just to be here and to be experiencing this magical madness, because it really is. And I think that wherever we focus our intentions and our energy and our love, that's what grows and that's what flows. And the rest of the stuff kind of falls away. Negative things sort of fall away. You deal with them and they move through, but it's just a roller coaster, right? But just stay peaceful and stay happy. And, you know, when you get angry, stay angry and be with it and be whatever you're going to be. Be authentic. Try to be peaceful. Try to be in balance. Try to, you know, feel powerful and try to empower others as you move through, you know, this thing that we call this crazy life experience, because it's powerful to empower other people. And I hope that that's what I'm doing in my videos. I hope this totally resonated, and happy Friday. And I'll see you guys soon. So I'll leave you with, in love we know, in love we grow. I love you guys. Be back next week.